Very welcome. Everybody else doing good?
Yeah,
Yes, how are you?
absolutely.
Good.
Very good. How are you?
Doing really, really
So,
good.
Martin, so I just heard the meeting is being recorded, so we'll have access to this workshop to watch it later if we need to.
Yeah, Lindsay's recording it, so if you guys want access to it, feel free to reach out to her and she'll send it to you guys.
Perfect. Thanks, Martin. Now,
You're
I may
welcome.
make some notes on I have a recorder. I may make some notes from time to time, just so you know what I'm doing, just of things that might be important. So
Yeah, I don't mind if you guys voice record it, honestly. I really don't. If it's something you
good
guys
to
want
know.
to refer back to, I'm good with that. So
Yeah, that's exactly what it's for. Yeah.
yep, yep, absolutely. So we're gonna go over so there's gonna be two workshops. Today's workshop is gonna be on needs analysis, pretty much gathering like a proper needs analysis. And then to build a plan based off of the needs analysis. So we're gonna go over that today. We're gonna try to keep the workshop down to 1 hour because I know some of you guys are in training, final day of training. Shout out to you guys. And then on Monday, we're gonna continue the workshop on actually presenting the plan and closing it. We're gonna go over like some closing rebuttals, how to turn no's into yeses. Then I've told some of you guys that I'm actually working on a sheet with like closing rebuttals for you guys. Like if a client says I can't afford this, have like 6, 7 strong rebuttals. I want to think about it. I'm putting it together. I still have to get it approved by like, Justin, the MGA, and Mark Dushai. So once that's done and it's approved, we're gonna be sending it out to you guys. And it's really good to have next to you guys when you guys are closing, right? Because if a client says I can't afford this, you don't want to be stuck and just kind of blurt some stuff out, you want it to make sense, you want it to be proper. So hopefully that's done like sometime in the next week and you guys have it, 10 days from now. Cool, Jolene?
Absolutely. Send it to me. I will put it in the packet.
For sure. What's up, Kathy?
So, what time will the workshop be on Monday? Same time, 11 a.m. Eastern.
Same time, yeah. Yep.
Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome. So I'm gonna share my screen. I kind of started HP Pro on the needs analysis. I got some basic information put in. And yeah, I know a lot of you guys, especially like the new ones that have been presenting. You guys are comfortable presenting up until this point, and then you guys reach out to your upline to have them come help you. Keep doing that. Just because I'm having this workshop doesn't mean you guys should stop doing that. This is just to make you guys feel a little bit more comfortable. If you guys feel like it's good enough to where you don't need your upline, cool. If not, we're always gonna be there for you guys regardless. So just so you guys know. Okay, so I got John Smith over here, typical name. Non-senior. John Smith is in sales. He's a male, got his email, phone number, and zip code. He has no children because he's single. So I'm gonna pick on somebody. So Shaker, you're gonna be John Smith, okay? And we're gonna kind of role play this the way I would do it when I'm gathering this needs analysis, okay?
Okay.
Sometimes I have this information gathered from the survey, but right now, when you guys are doing the survey, you guys are just doing the top portion of it and not the bottom half. So you guys are actually gathering all this information in the needs analysis. So now, John, any kind of life insurance through work or outside of work that you carry?
Yes, I have whole and term life at work.
At work, okay. What kind of coverage do you have for your whole life?
Whole life 50,000, term life 150.
Gotcha. Any kind of civilian policy outside of work?
No, I don't.
No, okay. All right, so you're not protected outside of work, just kind of your group medical that you have, right?
That's right.
All right, we'll see if we can get something going for you today. Now, as far as property information goes, John, do you rent or own your home?
I own my home.
Oh, all right, awesome. Now, is it paid off or do you still have like a monthly balance with a payment? Or a monthly
Yeah,
payment with
I have a
balance?
balance.
Okay, and what is your monthly payment?
Monthly is 2,500,
And then the balance?
800.
800,000?
Yep.
Oh, you got a mansion over there, huh, John?
I say that.
Yeah. Now, just so you guys know, the rate and the years left does not really matter. But it does make you input something for the year. So if you want to ask the client, just ask them. So John, how many years do you have left on your mortgage?
Another 12 years.
12 years, gotcha. Okay. Now for me, guys, it's important to collect a monthly payment. Why? Because if John was married, I would want to give him a house payment rider, right? And for plan generator to calculate that properly, it has to be put in here properly. Otherwise, you're going to ask him again what their monthly payment is. Mortgage protection is like super expensive, so I don't do that much. You can give him part of it, like over here. If I gave John $800,000 mortgage protection, he's probably gonna be paying like $1,000 a month, somewhere around there. And we'll look at that once we get to the plan generator. So for me, I always like to collect a monthly payment, considering if they're non-seniors, because I can give them a house payment rider if they have a spouse. In this situation, John doesn't have a spouse, but I always get in the habit of collecting it. So it's something that I do every time. Now, John, do you have insurance to pay off your home in case of a death?
I don't.
No, okay. And then no children, so this one's gonna be not available. And then you are single, correct? We went over that.
Yes,
And then you did tell me earlier that you do bank locally for checking and savings both.
right.
Awesome. Okay. And then at this point, I'm reading the script. The VSOs do base everything on income and affordability. So at this point, I start collecting his income. I always like to go off of monthly. Now, John, what is your monthly income? And by the way, John, you're in sales, just so you know.
Right.
What is your monthly income? And that's everything you have coming in. And typically we're sitting with seniors, guys. So my verbiage is like, whether it's retirement, pension, social security, disability, 401k, or working, just kind of a ballpark of your monthly income.
Okay. And I'm not a senior, right?
You're not a senior, correct? You
Okay.
are
15,000. Yeah.
15,000. Gotcha. Okay. Now, aside from the mortgage, John, any kind of auto debt that you're currently paying on?
Yes, I have a couple of cars and a boat.
Okay. What's the balance on the autos, on the cars?
The first one is 40 and the other one is 80.
Gotcha. Okay. Any credit card debt totaling over 10K?
Yeah, I would say 22.
22K, okay. Any student loans, personal loans, or anything you co-sign for?
No.
No? Okay. What about toys? Boats, campers, jet skis? You strike me as a toy man.
Yeah, I have a boat. Guilty as charged. I have yeah.
What kind of boat do you have?
It's a big one.
Big one? Gotcha. And what's the balance on the boat?
200.
200. Yep, that's a big one, I would say. Okay, awesome. Okay, so at this point, I gathered everything that I need in my needs analysis. Now, expenses. Not sure if you guys, I'm not sure if you guys go over expenses when you guys are getting trained in the training. Over at Team Hatia, we don't collect any expenses. For a couple of reasons, guys. You don't do original. Okay, cool. The reason that we don't do it, guys, couple of different things. One term that we use over here is like buyers are liars, right? We throw that term around loosely, so they cannot be totally honest with you guys about this. But now, if I went over this with John, it'll be easy for John to give me all these right here, and that number is going to be like 14,900, which tells me John only has $100 per month left, right? Yeah. Another main reason we don't want to do this right here, you're about to pitch them a life insurance plan, and the last thing we want to do is remind them about every single bill that they're paying right before we are about to put another bill on them. For me, that's what the real reason is, right? So we never want to do that. I've done it twice before. And the reason that I did it twice was because I didn't do it at this point. I got done with the client, I pitched the plan, and they said they couldn't afford it. I down closed twice. They're like, we just really can't afford it, man. We don't have nothing left over, at all. So this was like when I was closing. So I was like, all right, if you really have nothing left over, I came back over here just to really see for myself with the client. So I came back over here and I did this with them. They ended up having like $190 left over, and I was able to sell them a $75 plan. And the plan was about to go. The deal was about to go. I wasn't going to sell them. So last ditch effort, I used this, but this was after I had already pitched the plan, and they said, no, hell no, we can't afford it. I came back and I did this, and it worked out. So, but we just don't want to do it right here at this point. So, I want to stop over here and maybe take a couple of questions before we go over to building the plan. So any questions so far, anything that kind of stuck out to anybody or anything that they're not sure of or unaware of that they might need help with? No, pretty much
Hey,
straightforward.
can you hear me, Martin?
Yeah,
So you only talk about actual expenses, just to be clear, if you can't, if down closing doesn't work out. If the down closing method isn't working, that's when you do break down expenses.
yeah, if it came down to affordability and I had to
Yeah.
down close because of that, then yeah, absolutely. Yep, I would come back and do the expenses. Also if they told me at the same time that, we really don't have anything left over, like there's nothing, we can't squeeze anything out, Um, if they say they can't afford it for any other reason, you can still come back here and try this for sure, just to kind of go through their expenses, just to see, sometimes
Mhm.
affordability can be many different reasons why. And it's okay to find out why and come back over here and yeah, go through expenses at that point. So, um, so I did kind of start it over here. When we are collecting these, so yeah, I do take prescription medications. It is good to gather those medications over here in the notes. It makes it for an easier e-app. You can always come back here, copy, paste in the e-app. And also kind of prepares you for if they're really going to be trialed or not. So it's good to make sure you collect the prescription medications, frequency with dosage. And if they have any major health issues, it's always good to document those because you can refer to the AO Duchenne handbook. You can look at all the auto trial diseases, auto trial medications, just to be prepared when you guys get to EAP, so you guys know if it's going to be a trial or not, and whatnot. Because you have to get that verbiage prepared if it's going to be a trial. It's going to go through further underwriting. Could take this many weeks. They're gonna be reaching out to you, probably access your medical records and whatnot. So it's always good to gather the medications over here. So in this case, John had no issues, not a tobacco user, no arrest, no health issues in the family, but he does take prescriptions. So John, what are the prescription medications that you take?
Just cholesterol medication.
Atorvastatin maybe?
Yep.
Gotcha. Frequency and dosage on it?
Daily 10 milligrams.
One time daily?
Yes, sir.
Gotcha. Perfect. All right. So right there, I collected that one. You guys can go on to the next one. In his case, this is the only one that he's taken. So, let's see. All right, awesome. So needs analysis is pretty straightforward. It's for me, like some people don't ask the life insurance questions. I always love to know if they have life insurance because in this situation, and you guys will learn on Monday because we're going to use the same exact situation for the close. It's gonna be easy for John to tell me, well, I already have life insurance, I don't need this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use his life insurance against him. Because he has a total of $200,000 in life insurance, but he has over, $1 million in debt. His house, he owns 800K on his house. He owns 200K on his boat, 120K in auto loans and 22K on credit card. So this right here is just gonna pay off a smidget out of his debt. What I'm selling, John, is a funeral and final expense policy, but in his situation, he's actually probably gonna want more. So if I had to guess, a person like John, definitely needs more life insurance. Another reason being, what he has is through work, which is kind of like group medical. A lot of times work coverage is different, it could get tricky. But I would say 80% of the time when you leave your job, that coverage expires. If you do retire, some coverage can carry on. Okay, some of that coverage can carry on. In some instances, you may have to pay for it. It's all different, but we let them know typically, when a member leaves their job, that group medical does expire and you have nothing at that point. Because a lot of work coverage does really expire. Sometimes they'll let you carry it on depending on certain situations. That's why our verbiage has to be properly, the message has to be exactly the way, it has to be very proper. We can't tell them, your work coverage is gonna expire when you leave your job. We could tell them typically, work coverage does expire when you leave your job. Typically means, it could be a bunch of different situations. Like I said, if they retire, it could carry on and whatnot, but majority of the time it does not carry on with you. So John, God forbid if John passes away when he's working, yeah, this is gonna pay out to his beneficiary. His beneficiary is gonna be instructed what to do with it. But, his beneficiary is gonna carry the rest of his debt too, which is 800K and everything else. And that's saying, if God forbid if John passes away right now, John is only 42 years old, gonna be 43 this year. So, John lives another 20, 30 years, he's gonna have a lot of this paid off and whatnot. But what he's doing is he's protecting himself right now, God forbid if he does pass away. Because we don't know if John has plans to get married, if he has plans to have kids and whatnot, or John may just want to be a bachelor, but he's very close with his siblings, and his siblings are going to inherit everything. All that information we find out during the presentation with beneficiaries and stuff like that. So you guys always want to keep that in the back of your mind. That's why when I'm gonna sit, I take notes on everything. You guys should always have a piece of paper in front of you guys. Any piece of information the member gives you, jot it down. Right from the beginning, from what VSO are you a part of? What branch of military did you serve in? Jot all those down, it may come up later in a conversation. And you don't want to ask them later, what branch of service were you in? For me, I write, when I get into a sit, anything that's on the card, I write it down in front of me. Name, address, phone number, email address, date requested, even the security keyword. And then I'm gathering everything else and I'm jotting it down. All the debt, everything, I'm just jotting it down. Even when I'm done collecting refs, I'll jot down 7 refs, 4 vets, 6 family, because you're gonna have that with you, so if it's something that you need to refer back to, you'll be able to refer back to it. They're in your notes, future reference, whatnot. You have it there, so. So any questions oh yeah, we do, Kathy.
So another thing with life insurance that like some of the traditional life insurance, they don't pay out right away. Like you have to there's like a waiting period, like it says in the script. That's why people, that's why, because under the freedom of choice certificate, that's why it's so important to have that freedom of choice certificate, because sometimes life insurance doesn't always pay out right away.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's a good point. Yeah.
But I don't know if you should tell the client that, just because, maybe ask them, is there like a waiting period on your life insurance policy? Because I mean, that could be an issue too.
No, so that's a tie down right there. We don't want to ask them those questions, because we're actually going over that with them when we're going over the 3 different ways that they can pay for their life insurance, and it says in there that most life insurance companies don't pay out immediately,
No.
So, but yeah, no, that's another area that you can tackle, is saying that, if John would have had like a $10,000 policy, through a civilian policy, and he said, that's for my funeral and final expense. I said, well, this freedom of choice pays out immediately. What you have most likely does not pay out immediately, because a lot of life insurance companies that say they have an immediate payout, their immediate payout could take weeks or more to come in. That's their immediate payout. It really is. So we let them know with the freedom of choice, it does pay out immediately. So you could definitely say that, Kathy. You could definitely say that. That's a tie down that we can use against them.
Yeah, when they're objecting, I already have life insurance. So,
Yeah, awesome. All my members do. I'd be surprised if you didn't.
yep.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Shaker?
Yeah, so appreciate the not asking expenses questions, because I had been doing it every single time, and most of the times I found myself backing into a hole, to your point. So I'm gonna stop doing that, because buyers are liars and they probably pad their expenses because they're worried about, how much more do they need to spend. My question is, so work is temporary, and if they wait it's going to cost them so much more 10, 15 years from now. So what is the best time and method of educating them on those two points?
I usually bring those, good point, first of all, Shaker. So I definitely use those, if they tell me no, or depending on the reasons that they tell me no. I let them all know that, obviously this is always gonna be less expensive when you're younger. Every year that you wait, it's gonna be more expensive. And we could all be like a doctor visit or a prescription away from being uninsurable. So what we're doing now, Shaker, is we're just trying to lock you in at your youngest and healthiest rate. You know, locking you into life insurance, because and John Smith's point over here, luckily for him, he's just taking one medication, right? Let's just say that his cholesterol gets worse, or he ends up with diabetes or high blood pressure, right? And he's taking high dosages. Um, he's not going to be approved right away. He's going to be uploaded as a trial, and most likely whatever I pitched him is going to get re-rated, to something more expensive, and it's okay to tell him that, right now, because we're going over medical issues now with him. He doesn't have any medical issues. We're not getting into the nitty gritty about his whole lifestyle, and his eating habits and stuff like that, and what could lead to diabetes and high blood pressure and whatnot. So that's why we always tell them we could all be a doctor visit or a prescription away from being uninsurable, and it really resonates with them, because when you tell them that, it's going to make them start thinking of everything that they know they have going on, so it really makes sense to them. But you can use that in the down, not in the down close, in your rebuttal, of, oh, I don't need this right now. I don't want this, so. Rachel.
So I was wondering if you have a client that's obviously not wanting to be there and like they just keep rebuttaling you, and you get to this point of asking them like all these questions like at the bottom of this page. How do you go about that, like slowing it down to make them like want to be there, because at this point we're already probably 45 minutes to an hour in. So like, how do you go about that? Because your next step is building that plan to pitch it.
So which part do you mean? Like up until building the plan? Like, how do we go about?
Yeah, like if you go down a little after the needs analysis under this, like what if they like don't want to tell you, like they're fighting you on like, why do you need to know all my mortgage balance, or why do you like that basically?
So there's in the script when we're going over the needs analysis, let me get to it over here. I have the script up here. Let me see here. Let me pull it up real quick. So there's a part in the script that kind of goes over it, but what we tell them, we gather this information. So the VSOs can put a plan based on your recommendations, like we want to be able to properly build up, we want to customize the plan to fit your needs. And we're not going to know what your needs are until we collect your debt, until we collect your income, that's the reason that we do it. But let me look at the script, because I'm pretty sure it says it on the script, why we are collecting it. I'm pretty sure. Give me a second here. It's right there. Okay, so needs analysis. So yeah, pretty much where it says now, it's important to understand that when it comes to permanent benefits, every veteran is seen separately because you guys all have different needs and wants. What's right for you isn't right for the veteran that saw before you, and won't be right for the veteran I'll see after you. That's why we do this on an individual basis. Does that make sense? So that pretty much right there tells them why we're kind of gathering it. Not directly, but pretty much. With that being said, they're just gonna have me ask you a couple of quick questions just to make sure the benefits they're recommending are filling in a need for you.
Okay.
So that's we're telling them that's why we're gathering this needs analysis. If they didn't understand it, or kind of just went over their head, you can let them know. If they ask, well, why do you need all this information? Well, we're gathering this so we can put a plan based on your individual needs. Yeah.
All right.
And that's the truth. That's why we collect it, So that's right.
Something you said, that I think was, it really caught my ear at least, when you're talking, you said you could be one prescription or what,
A doctor
Away?
visit away.
or a doctor visit away from being uninsurable, right?
Mhm.
Okay, I like that. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's true, we never know. Every time we go to the well, not, a lot of us are younger or whatever, but a lot of the elderly, when they go to the doctor, it could get nerve-wracking for them. I know for like my parents, God rest their souls, they're not here. When they were older and they started having medical issues, they were worried every time they went to the doctor because they were thinking like, what's next? What's next? What's gonna come up next, So yeah, when you say that to them, it really resonates, because the
Well,
next
it resonated with me. That's why I wanted it.
Yeah, absolutely. It works. So, so yeah, so that's gathering a proper needs analysis. We gather all this stuff, and jot all this down too. When you guys are gathering this information, jot it all down. Jot down their life insurance. You can use it against them later. Jot down their mortgage. Like right now, if John had a spouse, I would probably give him a house payment writer, and we'll kind of go over those options. So now over here at this point, I know like a lot of the newer agents, they question the way they should go about this, what should they do at this point, because like for the experienced leaders and agents, they have like a lot of the script memorized. When I get to this point, I start going over, let me ask you a question. Have you ever had to plan? And I'm asking them that while I'm building the plan because I have that part memorized. For you guys that don't have this part memorized, what I used to do, and I used it to my advantage, when I gather the needs analysis. Now, John, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna forward this over to the underwriting department, just to see what they have allocated for you, and I'll be back with you in just a brief moment. So at that point, I would just kind of pause share, I would mute myself,
Mhm.
and I would go to building the plan. And I used to use that to my advantage because 9 times out of 10, they don't know that, you can't hear them because you muted. And they start talking amongst themselves, husband and wife. And I would use that time to your guys' advantage. Samantha, Helen, if you guys are on your phones and not paying attention, you guys could leave. I'm doing this for you guys. I need you guys to pay attention. These phones, put them off to the side. Because when you're on your phone, you're not paying attention. Okay? So phones off to the side, and I need everybody paying attention here. If you're gonna be on your phones, bye. I'm being serious. So that point for me was like super dope. I used it to my advantage because I would just say, hey guys, I'm gonna go ahead and forward this to the underwriting department. It'll be just a moment. They're gonna have I'll be back with what they have allocated for you, and I would mute myself. I would go to building the plan, and they would just start talking amongst themselves, and it's really, really telling. A lot of times I heard, whoa, what are they about to do? We don't know what's going on here. Or sometimes they say, oh, I think they're about to pitch us life insurance, or, maybe it's something really good that's better than what we have. So you're going to be listening to all that. And it's great. I use it to my advantage a lot. Eventually you guys are going to have certain parts of the script memorized where you guys could continue talking to them while you're building this plan. I start building the plan when I'm collecting their debt. I'm literally like building the plan and I'm jotting down their debt at the same time. I'm done building the plan and then I'm ready to, let me ask you a question. Have you guys had to participate in planning a funeral, no way is wrong. For you new ones that are just starting to present, I would definitely put them on a brief hold, build your plan and just kind of eavesdrop and use that to your advantage. And then once you're done building the plan, then at that point you can go ahead and start continuing with the script. Does that make sense? Yeah, okay, cool. All right. So now, I know a lot of you like in the beginning are taking some time to build a plan. It takes some time for you guys, and I know that you guys in training, I like the way they teach it to you guys with the allocating and like certain percentages off of their income, which is good, I'll kind of show you guys a way to speed it up, especially when it comes to the enhanced part. Because you want to try to get this done as quick as possible so you're not putting them on hold for too long. So immediately when I get to plan generator, I click on plan options. I change this to recommended. Immediately, over here, I change this to the enhanced. And I'm gonna build my enhanced first, and I'm literally gonna do it in probably like 15 seconds. I click on the enhanced, I come here, I go to quintuple, I come here to monthly, I type in 700, I'm done with the enhanced, it's done. I literally built it in 10 seconds. You're only gonna click on it for a brief moment to show it to them, to scare them away from it, and then you're going back to your recommended. So there's no big need to really spend too much time on the enhanced. You know, I know the enhanced is 700, I want it 700 plus. You guys all see how I just did that quick? It's quick, you know, you're gonna click on it for a second when you're presenting the plan to scare them away from, I don't even care what number showed on it. Every time you go back to it, it changes. So typically what I did, I just came and typed in 700. And that's what they're getting for the 700. I don't even care about cleaning this number up because I click on enhance for a brief moment to show it to them, let them know it's hard to qualify for, it's really expensive, and you're gearing them back towards the recommended. So to just build a plan quickly, so you guys could spend a little bit more time on the recommended. You guys seen how I did it? It literally took seconds. Now I'm on the recommended over here, and I could take my time on this. Now, building a proper recommended plan based off of John's income and his debt, right? So yeah, John's making 15K a month, but I'm definitely gonna take into consideration, you know, all his debt. You know, he's got $2,500 a month just for mortgage. He's got 120K in auto loans, 22 in credit card. He's got a big boat, you know. I know he's got utilities. I know he's living a lavish life, so I know he's got, you know, spending habits and stuff. So typically we go based off of their income and a certain percentage. Jolene, I have a quick question for you. Do you guys still go like 3 to 8% off of income in the
We use
training?
$4 a day, and we use $4 because it keeps it under the 300 because we're noticing a lot of students are going over that. So yeah, we use the $4 a day.
Gotcha. Okay. So, and then you guys, a lot of you guys are, actually everybody at this point has went through that part because that was week 1 in training, right? So you guys know how to go through the dollar a day philosophy and allocate? Okay. So once you guys become a little bit more tenured and know how to really properly build a plan, there's multiple different ways that you guys can build plans. You know, you can build a plan based off of how much whole life you want to give them. You can build a plan based off how much you want to charge them monthly. Typically when we're building the recommended, you always want to go triple individual or triple family. It shows the best value, and it's kind of like in the middle, you know. So over here, triple individual is only costing him $6 because John is young. Sometimes if I see it's that inexpensive and John's making money, I might go with quadruple. It's only $2 more. But typically we always stay in the habit of triple individual or triple family. It's just the best across the board. So that's what we always pitch on the recommended, triple individual or triple family. Now, if you guys are sitting with seniors that are like in their 70s, and you guys go with triple family, it's gonna end up being like $36 a month, you know? So at that point, you guys are gonna kind of recognize that. Like over here, for example, if John is 77 and Mary is 75, for example, she's a female. Okay, and I give Mary coverage. So if I go to triple family, it's gonna end up being like 36 bucks. Yeah, 36 bucks, I want to say. So in this situation, it's okay to go to double family. It's gonna be $12. It's gonna go in $12 increments. So in this situation, it's okay to go down to double because if I really truly do want to give them triple and I want to give them 7,500 each in whole life, like Jolene just said, we don't want to go over $300 a month. You definitely don't want to go over $291 in whole life. Because once you guys go over $3,500 ALP in whole life, AO is going to trial it. Just so you guys know, they'll trial it and most likely will get approved. But they're going to trial it. They're going to see why they want so much coverage at that age. And you won't get paid for it right away. So our rule of thumb is try to stay under 3,500 ALP, just for the whole life portion. Okay. So with that being said, like Jolene said, if I did truly give them triple family, I never want to pitch 300. I always want to pitch 290 something, right? So in this situation, it works out perfect where I'm going to go ahead and go with double family, takes it down to 288. It's perfect. It's less than 300. Hearing 2 something versus 3 something is like a big difference, you know, psychological, still psychology. So that's a rare situation, but we do see it a lot. If you guys are in that situation, so this is exactly what you guys are gonna want to do. Just go down to double, so you guys are not pitching them, you know, over 300. I'm gonna eliminate Mary. I'm gonna go back to John's real age, which was 42. Okay. So now, back over here to John, I'm giving him triple individual. Now, John's young, so typically if we go with the $4 a day philosophy, and then we go to click allocate remaining, whole life,
Julie,
finish. So at that point, what's recommended for John if we allocate $4 per day? Is gonna be $50,000 in whole life coverage. So I always clean that number up, so it would be $50,000 in whole life coverage with triple individual. If they're non-seniors, always give them ADB. Keep that in the back of your mind. We'll go over that in a brief moment. If they're non-seniors, always give them ADB. And then depending on what you're pitching them, you can change this ADB number. You could change in increments of 50K or 100K. So in this situation, I'm gonna change it to 100K because John Smith has a lot of money and this is gonna benefit him, and you guys will see why later. So I'm gonna give him 100K, and you can change this number right here to 100K. This 100K in ADB that I'm giving him additionally is only costing him $8.34 a month, which is nothing. So now if I did allocate properly, at the $4 a day, I'm gonna be pitching John $129.02 a month. Now, that for me, that's not gonna be good enough. Why? Because I know that John needs more coverage, based off of what he gave me. And John's making a decent amount of money. And John likes life insurance, he has 200K of it, and he has a lot of debt. So, I'm gonna come in, and this is where it doesn't get too tricky, but you guys can always change coverage amounts and monthly. So if I'm sitting with a client like with John, right? He has all this kind of money, so I'm probably gonna want to max John out. I'm probably gonna want to pitch John like $290 a month, knowing that I can down close. So there's two ways you can do it. If I want to make this number 290 right here, you guys can always play around with these monthly numbers. So I know that this 834 and this 663 totals up to $15. So if I want to pitch him 290, I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna change this monthly to his whole life to $270. Now, what does that do? That gives him 118K in whole life. Made that number 284, close to what I want. Now I can always clean this number up. I can make this number 125K, just to make, numbers right. I don't know why it does that. HP Pro just always messes this up right here.
It's my nightmare.
Yeah, it's not. Jolene, did you know that there was a glitch when you do that? So we need to reach out to Andrew Haskins and seriously let him know.
Please do.
Yeah,
It's really
honestly.
annoying. Mhm.
But anyways, since this glitches and doesn't work properly, and I do want to pitch John $290, you can always play around with this number. Come here and change it. Give him 200,000 in whole life. That's 337. Too much. I'll come back and I'll go to 175,000 in whole life. Perfect. That's exactly what I want to pitch John right there. I'm under $300. John has a lot of money. I'm showing him a lot of value over here with what I'm pitching him. All kinds of value. So, knowing that I can down close, knowing that I can down close properly, and not down close immediately, because when we down close immediately, in my opinion, it kind of diminishes the plan and we kind of start to sound desperate. So when somebody says, I can't afford this, we don't want to down close immediately. And that's something that we'll go over on Monday. So I'm gonna pause right here real quick and take a couple of questions. Sarah, you're first.
So my question was actually about the seniors. So it was almost $300 a month for 7,500 on coverage for both of them. So if they were to say that that was too expensive, and going down would really not kind of be giving them not a lot of coverage at all, would you say that going down would be worth it, or if they can afford it, then to just
Yeah, so in my opinion, it's always gonna be worth it. And especially if they're going the cremation route versus burial, right? Cremation is a lot less expensive than a burial, Sarah. So yeah, if this is like too expensive for them, I pitched them this double family. In my down close, what I would do, I would come back here. I would immediately turn this into single family. That's gonna knock off an extra 12 bucks. And then I would down close down to like probably 6K for him, 6K for her. Now we're at 223 versus the 290 something. So I'll come back with that right there. If it's still too expensive and I find myself down closing a second time, I'll come down to 5K here, I'll come down to 5K there. Now I got them below 200 bucks and I knocked off 100 bucks off of the initial,
Okay.
Yeah,
So in this situation, would we emphasize that that's going to be the premium for the both of them? And just that the amount of coverage that they will be getting will be able to contribute to their final expenses, even though it might not be enough for all of the final expenses.
absolutely. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. Yeah. A lot of times, Sarah, they might have a funeral and final expense policy, right? But when you're pitching before you show numbers and you're asking them for a beneficiary name, always pay attention to that beneficiary name, guys. It's really telling. It could be some grandkids, right? So they want to leave some money behind for their grandkids. So if they tell you guys, oh, I already have a burial policy, and yada yada. Well, I'm sure it probably doesn't pay out right away. This does. You guys can use this towards your funeral and final expense. And what you guys have in place can go towards your grandkids, like you want to do over here, or reverse it. That can go towards their funeral and final expense if they tell you it's an immediate payout. And this can go towards your grandkids or whatever you guys want to leave behind for them. So,
Thank
um, yeah, no, absolutely. And that'll be something, that we'll definitely go over on Monday. But yeah, no, it's there's always going to be a response. There's always going to be a response. And once you guys get into these sits and watch more ride-alongs with us leaders, you guys will see those rebuttals, and I'm going to be talking to our Haitian leaders. I know we haven't been the greatest at doing ride-alongs. To be honest with you guys, we haven't been in much sits lately. But when we are in sits, I'm going to make sure that we do post it for you guys in our MGA Haitian hierarchy chat. So you guys can do those ride-alongs with us. And then, we give great feedback at the end. When you guys are doing any ride-along, make sure you guys are just writing questions, why'd you do this? Why'd you say that? It's really great to do those ride-alongs. And that's not saying you guys can't, open up the breakout rooms, and at the very bottom, when you guys scroll down, there's all kinds of ride-along rooms we have in there. If you guys see a ride-along room that has a lot of people in it, there's a leader doing a ride along. You guys are more than welcome to go in there and watch that ride along at any time you guys want, just so you guys know. So, Heather.
I appreciate you for showing this to us, Martin, but can you show me how you would do like a senior combo, like a senior and then somebody that's like 59, just to see how those numbers work?
Absolutely. So the senior is the vet, I'm assuming. How old do you want him to be?
Make him 62, and then let's do 59 for Mary.
Gotcha. Getting that from there. Awesome. All right, cool. So right here. So Mary is able to get, let me see here. Actually, she's not able to get ADB, which is kind of weird, but anyways, it's okay. So obviously for the non-senior, it's going to be a lot less expensive. But when I'm pitching a husband and wife, I always want the coverages to be even, It's rare that I'll give one more than the other, especially considering, and typically the husband does pass away before the wife if they're old, and if they're older, whatever, typically that's how it is. So I always want to try to even out their coverages. So in this kind of a situation, 62 and 59, I would go with Jolene's method over here, and I would do the $4 right here. I would come to $4 for Mary. I always want to check this out just to see what it does, right? Because a lot of times for me it's great and it's accurate. In John's situation, it was just a little different. So over here, it has me pitching them 243 monthly. Decent amount, right? I would say decent amount. So all I would do, Heather, is come over here and clean these numbers up. So over here, she's getting 18,000, he's getting 16,000. So for me, in my mind, I'm gonna find that medium, and I'm probably gonna give them both 17.5. Just kind of and then come out of it. And I'm literally right around that 243, You can come in and give them 20K each. You're gonna be closer to the 290 or whatever. And that's okay, knowing that you can always down close. So His number was like 18, hers was 16, or vice versa. So at that point, I would round up for both, like I did here, or I would find the median and just go in between them. So that's how I would kind of do that.
Would you add, since like John's bringing in the income, would you add Mary the 10 YRC in case something happens to John, or do you not recommend?
Absolutely, 100%. So in this situation, let's say their house, okay, so over here in the needs analysis, you would have to enter it in properly.
Yeah.
If you enter it in the needs analysis properly, you would have house payment writer. So let's say we're going with mortgage protection, right? That 800,000 automatically fills in. It would
Yeah.
cost them 1,659 a month.
Wow.
But if I was giving him house payment writer, like let's say over here, let's just, for example, let's go 55 years old for John, because it's gonna allow me to do that. So now I come in over here, house payment writer. Let's say their house payment is $1,000 a month, right? I'm gonna come in here and I want to give them a house payment writer for 2 years. Now this is based off of his $2,500 payment, but if it's $1,000 a month, we know it's 12K for the year, 24K for 2 years, right? So I'm just gonna come in here and change this number to 24K. And then it's only costing them $40 a month. So that's great. That's really awesome. And I brought his age down just to be able to show you guys this. I would automatically definitely do that. If it's a husband and wife and they have a mortgage, automatically give them house payment writer. Because God forbid, if the husband passed away, that house payment writer is going to be made to your mortgage company for 2 straight years. Gives the wife enough time to settle in, figure things out. She's got a couple of years before she's got to start making that payment again. And you can go as many years as you want, up to like 8 years, I want to say. Yeah, 8.5 years, and you can go on like 6-month increments, which is great. So I always do this if it's a couple, non-seniors, and they have a mortgage. Now, in this situation, like you said, Heather,
Yeah.
John was 62, and once you're a senior, you can't give out any riders.
Yeah.
But for the non-senior, you could. So for this one, I can't give a house payment rider, but I can do monthly income, and I can make that $1,000 a month for a full year as our monthly income, or that's gonna be for a full year. So if I was giving it to him for a year,
Mhm.
that's the same thing as house payment rider, monthly income, house payment rider. You can the verbiage can be the same, you could still send that monthly income to Mary, and Mary can do whatever she wants with it. Same thing with the house payment writer. It doesn't necessarily have to go towards the mortgage company. It'll go to Mary. It's up to them. If they want it to go to the mortgage company, we can tailor it that way. Or we could just send it to the beneficiary. 9 times out of 10, it's just better to send it to the beneficiary, that way they know they're getting the money and they can do what they want with it. So the monthly income and house payment writer to me is the same thing.
Yeah.
Over here, it just doesn't show it, so I would definitely do monthly income, $1,000 a month for a full year. It's only $24, and that's what Mary is going to be entitled to. So
I see. Thank you so much, because I was a little confused about that part.
yeah, no, absolutely. And then once you get into your first few sits, Heather, we're going to be there for you. Like I know you're on Ted's team, right?
Thank you.
Yeah. So we'll watch. It's up to you. Like the Haitian leaders have been so great.
Yeah.
In the sits with their agents, especially Lindsay over here. Lindsay was like amazing when we we're all in Hawaii. She helped a lot of people out. So you can always reach out to your upline when you're getting into a sit. If you want us to watch it A to Z, we're gonna do that. If you want us to come into the needs analysis to the close, we're gonna do that. If we're busy or if your leader is busy, what I recommend for you guys is to put your upline, which is your essay, and me in a group text. That way, let's say Ted is busy and he's in a sit, I'm gonna get the text too, and I can hop in and help you, Heather, or
Perfect.
Veronica, or Samantha, or whoever. Yeah,
Appreciate that. Thank you.
yeah, no, for sure. It just makes it. We want to be there for you guys as much as possible, So, Sarah.
So for the income protection, if so John doesn't have any income since he's a senior. And so is it, if Mary passes away, her income is what's going to go to John?
Say that again.
So since John's a senior, he's not going to be able to provide any income protection, right?
Yeah, he can't get it. He can't.
So he won't be able to get it, but Mary will be able to get it since she's a senior. So it'll be
No, she's a non-senior.
a non-senior. So I guess I'm just kind of confused. The person that is going to receive the money is also going to be the one with the 10 YRC.
No. So, so in this situation, God
Okay.
forbid, if Mary does pass away, before John, John is gonna be receiving that $1,000 a month,
Okay.
on Mary's
So-
behalf.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Got
God
it.
forbid though, Sarah, if they both passed away, the beneficiary is gonna receive that $1,000 a month to be able to make those payments or do whatever they want with it. Yeah.
Okay.
This is not a situation where if either of them passes away, the other would get the $1,000. This is only if Mary passes away, John or the beneficiary would receive it.
Okay. Got
Yeah.
it. That's what I was
John's
wondering.
just not able to get it because of his age, you know? Now, if, let's say John was, 59, they're the same age, right? Or whatever. Yeah, John is also gonna be able to receive it. Now, in situations like this, I would not put it on Mary. I would put it on John. Because like I said, typically the men pass away prior. And we can tailor it any which way they want, you know? But typically, this is the way that we always do it. If they're both non-seniors, we put the house family rider or the monthly protection on the husband, you know? Now, we can add it on both, God forbid, John did pass away before Mary, or Mary did pass away before John. Vice versa, any way it is, either of them gets it. So we can do that, but it is gonna be, an amount for both, you know? So typically, in situations like this, when they're both non-seniors, we always tend to put it on the male.
Okay. And now
Yep.
since they're both 59, they won't be able to renew once the 10 years is up.
No, so
That's
because
correct.
because
It
they're gonna, yeah, they can't, because they're gonna be seniors at that point.
Got it.
Yeah. There are, and sometimes we use that to our advantage because a lot of other life insurance companies allow them to renew it when their term expires. And they do allow them to do it when they're seniors, but it's so much more expensive than what they initially, their initial. Because typically term is like a 5 to a 30-year term. And if it's 10 years, 10, they're gonna be 10 years older, rates are gonna be so much more, you know? So, but yeah, it's a 10-year term, and it is non-renewable as a term, but it is convertible. They can actually convert it to whole life before their 10 years is up, which is super dope that we do that, you know? That's why it's sort of 10-year convertible. That's what the 10 YRC is, 10-year convertible. So it's recommended that all of them convert their term to whole life before their term is up, right, Jolene?
absolutely. It's up to
Yeah.
the last 2 years of the policy.
Yep,
So anywhere up to 8 years, they can convert.
yep. So, yeah, good question. Kathy, we have about 5 minutes, guys.
Okay, just
Yeah.
this is quickly, so
No, you're
so
good.
so they'd only be eligible for the house, like the mortgage rider if they're under 60, correct?
If they're 59 and younger, yeah. If they're 60 and above, they're not.
Okay,
Mhm.
and that's just like a monthly income, and then you just put down their monthly income. So, they don't really ask for mortgage if they're seniors. Okay, I just want to be clear what,
Yeah,
how it
yeah,
works. Thank you.
you're welcome. There's all kinds of different writers, guys, like in John Smith's situation, he has 22K in credit card, 80K in auto, or 120K. John has all kinds of debt, right? So I can give him protections on all of them, like I can give him the 2-year house payment rider. I can click this one and I can give him a credit card debt as well, and I can type in that 22K for his credit card. I can give him all kinds of riders, but they are all 10 years and they are they're all are convertible. The reason that they may want to go with this versus giving them all that extra money in whole life, because it is a lot less expensive to give them a rider versus giving them all whole life. That's why they have that option to be able to convert it at that point. So,
Thank you.
yep, you're very welcome. Any other questions, guys?
Shaker brought up a good thing to me, or a good question. He said, the whole life policy will cost based on the age at the conversion for the 10 YRC. Yes, it is based on your age when you convert, but it is a guaranteed conversion.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's recommended for all of them to do that because, like Jolene said, if it gets to that point and it expires, they don't carry it anymore. They don't have it anymore. So it is always recommended for them to convert it. But that's not something that we have to go over in great detail when we're pitching a plan. That's all in the paperwork and the policy that they receive in the mail, right, Jolene? Yeah. Yeah, they receive all those documents, you know. And we'll go over all these like in presenting the plan on Monday. You know, we can keep this same one up over here, or we can just come back to plan generator on Monday and kind of build something like this and present it to see how we kind of go over it, and we'll go over a couple of different ways. So,
Okay.
all right, guys, I hope this was somewhat helpful. If you guys have questions, you know, reach out to your uplines, reach out to me. If you guys are in training, you know, you guys, I would head over to training with Jolene. If you guys are not in training and you guys want to stay behind, I don't mind hanging out for another 10 minutes, answering some of your guys' questions if you guys want. So,
Thank you so much, Martin. We appreciate
Thank you,
you.
Martin.
And
I
thank you,
appreciate your
Martin.
time.
Thanks, Martin. Great to see
everybody.
you again.
you're welcome, guys. Shaker, it's good to see you too.